Hello, everyone. I am Radhika, and welcome back to DataZan. Thank you for joining in today for this quest where we explore custom overlays. Don't forget to subscribe for your daily dose of data inspiration. And now, without further ado, let's get right into it. For this week, we are doing Power BI 2021 Week 13 Challenge from Workout Wednesday series. And we are going to build this bubble chart with an overlay. So, this is the overlay. And if I click anywhere on the screen, I get back to my chart where I can run this visual. Now we need to build this chart where if I click on the question mark, we have overlay. And if I click anywhere on the screen, I go back to the visual. I have already downloaded the data from data.world website, and it's a set of an Excel file along with three CSV files. I have loaded all the data, and now I will click on transform data so that I can make transformations on the data that I have loaded. For starters, I will first rename all of these tables. So this is countries, next one is income, then life expectancy, and lastly population. Now let's go to each one of these one by one. Countries looks absolutely fine. It has proper column headers and the data looks fine. For income, we don't have the proper headers. So I'm going to click on this little icon and choose use first row as headers. Now there is already a hint given in the challenge that we need to unpivot this data. So I'm going to right click on country and click on unpivot other columns. I will name this as year, and this is our income. Similarly, I will do this for the rest of the tables too. So for life expectancy, marking the first row as header and then unpivoting it. And then this is year and value is life expectancy. Lastly, for population, use first row as headers, unpivot other columns, and this is year and population. And I will click on close and apply. Now, before going to modeling, we also need a date table. So I am first going to create a date table. For that, I will go to this data view and create a new table. Because I don't need the full-fledged date table, so I am not using some M query or something. I'm going to create a very simple date table, which is not exactly a date table, but just a column with all the years. So for that, I will just call it year date, and I will use summarize DAX function. The table that we need to give it is income. We can give it any table because all the income, life expectancy, and population tables have dates from 1800 till 2040. So this time I'm using income, and I need to group it by year, and that's it. So this will give me a unique list of all the years that are present in the income table. Now that I have this created, I will go to model view, and in here we will build our star schema. So for star schema, I will place countries and year at the top, and I will now make the relationships. So with year date, I will make relationship with year with all of these tables. And then in countries table, we have a column called name. I will link this with the country column in each of these fact tables. Now that our relationships are created, let's head back to our report view. Now I will come to this year date table and make this year as a whole number. Now I will first create a scatter plot, which is the bubble chart. Let's just do it full size and give some space for that question mark here. On x-axis, we need income. So I'll bring income. We don't want the sum of income, instead the average. On y-axis, we are assessing the life expectancy. And again, in this one, we don't want a sum, but we want it as average. And we want to do it for all the countries. So bringing countries over here. And on legend, we need to do it by region. So this World Bank region, I will bring this to legend. And we have this blank here. We don't want it blank. And the reason for blank could be there is an invalid relationship or the data is not present for this particular for a particular country. So what I'm going to do is I will just remove this blank because this is not necessary for this particular challenge. And now we have this data. Now I need to change the size of these bubbles so that it represents the size of the population. And for that, in the challenge, let me just bring that screen up. In the challenge, if I hover over it, you see that the population is in millions and my data is currently not in millions. So I will just convert it. So for that, I will create a measure. So I will, because I just need one measure, I will just create it in the populations table and I will call it population in millions. That will be equal to, I just need to divide the sum of the population by million. And if there isn't anything, I will just put it at 0. And now I will bring this population in millions measure to size. We see that all of these bubbles, they represent the size of the population. Now in the play axis, we need year because we need to play the data for all the years. So I am going to bring this year in play axis. Now we don't want the data up till 2040. We just want it till 2021. So what I will do is in this year, I will do advanced filtering and put it less than 2022 so that it shows data till 2021. Clicking on apply filter and this is how the filter gets applied. Now I will adjust the axis because this axis is like 1K, 10K and 100K. So it's a logarithmic axis. So for that, I will go to the format settings and in x-axis, I will choose logarithmic scale and we want the values to be in thousands. And the maximum should be. Now the visual looks like how it is in the challenge and when we play, it plays through the data. Now we need in the tooltip, we need to show the page. So I will create a page. I will go to formatting pane and for the canvas settings, instead of 16:9 ratio, let's just choose tooltip and I will just enlarge this a bit. And the first visual that we want here is a card visual and it should have name of the country in it. I will just decrease the size a bit, place it at the top. And for formatting, we don't want the category label. And for callout value, I will put it to 30 and change it to a different font. Next, we need a multi-row card. And in that, we want life expectancy, income, and population. I will just decrease the size from here and place it like that. And I will rename this. So this will be life expectancy. Rename this as income and renaming this as population. Now I will go back to my initial page. Let's just reduce the size. And here I will click on this visual, go to properties and then tooltips. And I want tooltip to be type and page should be my page 2. This page as tooltip so that it is more clear. This is for tooltip. And now if I hover, I can see the tooltip laid out properly. We are almost there. For this visual, I will just do some renaming. So in the challenge, this is renamed as income. And on y-axis, title is life expectancy. And for title, we'll just change the font, make it larger. And in the middle, I will also rename my legend as region. Now, when I look at tooltip, the tooltip is not formatted properly, like it's too wide. So we need to decrease its width. And another thing is, I am using sum of population. Instead, I need to use population in millions measure that I have created. So for that, let's go to the tooltip page. And in here, click on this visual and remove the population and add population in millions. And we will just rename this to just population. And to decrease the size, click on the full canvas and then we will just choose custom. And instead of 320, I will just reduce it to 250 maybe. So now I need to add a year at the very top. I just can't add year just like that because we need just one value of the year, that is the value which is selected. So for that, what I'm going to do is add a new measure and call it selected year, which will be equal to selected value of year. And now if I bring this, currently it's blank because we have not selected any year. Now if I go back and select one of these, this looks exactly like how it is in the challenge. One more thing that I need to change is instead of life expectancy, it should be mean of life expectancy and income should be in dollar. So for that, I will go to income and format it as a dollar value. And now if I hover, that bit should be fixed. Yep. And now if I go back to tooltips and click on the multi-card visual, I will just rename this as mean of life expectancy. Now to create the overlay, what I will do is I will take a screenshot using Windows snipping tool. Now I will edit this in Paint. First thing that I'm going to do is add a text box which says how does income relate to life expectancy, and let's take this background fill. That looks nice. I will choose a rectangle shape and fill it. Do a solid fill of white color and place it at the top so that I remove those shapes. Now I need to create an arrow. So again, I will choose this line, choose a color and point the arrow in that direction. I will choose the line width as, let's say, 3 pixels, and I will draw another one to just make it look like an arrow. Now we need to add another text box. So I will just add it here, which says hover over bubbles to see details. I will just place the text like that. And then lastly, another text box. And the fill this time should be a gray color. And our overlay is ready. Let's just save this. Now in my Power BI, what I will do is first, we are going to insert button. So first it will be a blank button so that we can add a image, our overlay image. So I will bring this here and add this button. And for button style, I will enable fill. And for fill, I will browse my image. And for transparency, I will keep it 0%. Now in actions, we need to set up what action do we want to take it. I'm going to use bookmarks. So first let's enable the bookmark panes. So enabling bookmark and selection. Now I will just rename this as report, and this is my overlay. Although it's a button, but it's an overlay. And the third thing that we are going to add is another button, which is the question mark. And I will just name this as question. Now for my first bookmark, what I want is I want to show overlay. So I will just name it show overlay. And when I want to show overlay, I don't want this question mark to be visible. Neither this report should be visible. It should just be overlay. I will then add another bookmark where I am going to show only question and report, not the overlay. So I have hidden overlay in it, and I will call this show report. I will click on this update. So now if I go to show overlay, my overlay is only the thing which is visible. And if I go to show report, then my question and report both are visible. If I click on the button now and go to its actions, turning on actions, and I will choose bookmark, it's a button. So we want to show the overlay with this button. Now, if I do control and click, because we are in Power BI desktop, I see this overlay. Now, as I am on this overlay, I will enable actions for this. And in action, I will again choose bookmark. And this time we want to show report. So again, pressing on control and clicking, I get this report and my question mark. If I again control and click on this question mark, I see my overlay. There is a green background in the challenge. So for that, I will click anywhere on the canvas so that none of the visuals are selected. And I will choose color and transparency to none. And this is how the overlay works. I hope you have learned something new from this. Thank you for tuning in today. I will see you in my next one.